Hello YouTube, it is Chris here, and in today's episode we're going to be going over my top 10 most carried EDC folders for February 2026. Stick with me. Welcome back everybody, and thank you for sticking with me. Like I said, we're going to be going over my top 10 most carried folders for 2026. This is the Kershaw Bareknuckle, the 6777. This is based off of an old school zero tolerance design. This thing is a beauty. It's sporting the Magna Cut steel, a nice sheep's foot blade, dual action thumb studs, the crossbar lock. Ever since Benchmade lost their patent for the axis lock, we've seen crossbar locks absolutely everywhere. And some of the notable features that I like about this particular blade is the deep carry pocket clip, the aluminum OD green. I am a sucker for everything green. This folder is just so good. It sits in my pocket. When I bring it to work and I use it, I caught myself wearing this and using this so freaking much. It kind of almost took everything over. However, because of all the knives that exist in the world, and I'm an absolute knife nut, I couldn't just carry just one blade. Now, if I'm feeling a little froggy and I want to go from a crossbar lock to kind of a button lock auto, I will kind of move over to the Launch 22. With the OD green aluminum, sucker for green, and the micarta handle scales, it just fits the bill. It fits in my hand perfectly. It rides in the pocket great. But let's say you don't like something bigger, because these are a little bit bigger on a more full-size EDC knives. We also have things like the Bel Air. The clip point, also Magna Cut crossbar lock, deep carry pocket clip, micarta handle scales, very, very lightweight. For the OGs on my channel, you know I am a sucker for cold steel, the triad lock, all the cool things. But this behemoth, I bring this out almost every single time I go on onto an adventure. That is going to be changing for 2026 and beyond, because even though I love this thing, I've got to experiment, have fun, and try new knives, new steels. But it's kind of the whole concept. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Now, in the state of Texas, a 5.5-inch blade, it's 100% chill, so I can have some fun and carry things like the Cold Steel 5 Max. And yes, I do carry this knife. I don't care that it weighs 400 pounds. I love this thing. S35VN, crazy triad lock. This thing is just an absolute tanky monster. Moving on from Big Bertha and tanky, but we're still kind of going in the kind of tanky category, is the Zero Tolerance 0203. This blade is amazing. It has really good contoured G10 handle scales. We're obviously flexing the Duralock, another crossbar lock. It's got this proprietary nut on there. I'm not the biggest fan of that, however. I like the nice drop point. The jimping on this thing is perfect. You can tighten up on there if you want to. The deep carry pocket clip, rock solid action. This is probably going to end up on a few adventures with me in the near future. This with M4 steel, just being one of the most robust steels you could ever hope for. And if you kind of take a look, that tip is just freaking reinforced, man. It just, it's an absolute beauty. But if you can carry autos, and you like autos like I do, there's also the 0512. If I'm feeling a little sporty. Next on the list, we're hitting number 4. This is the Wixco DRAX 2, sporting a crossbar lock. I'm sure you're going to notice a theme. Now, I wish they had different springs. I know they're using what is known as the Omega spring, and that's great. But actually rocking something like a coil spring inside for the crossbar locks, I think would make the crossbar locks universally a lot stronger. But this thing is sporting 14C28 in stainless steel with a deep carry pocket clip. This is from a company called Wixco. This is kind of a budget line knife. It is not very expensive at all. And when I'm going to go out, like maybe on a dinner, but I still want to carry a budget blade, they have this in marble carbon fiber. These are freaking cool. They kind of give me like bug out vibes, like the original bug out, but at a much less lower price point. Now, for those of you who've been around my channel for a long time, you know me and Benchmade have a long storied history. I have been carrying their bug out, the original one, for a very long time, and this is the tagged out. This is basically the bug out I always wanted. We have a nice clip point. We have the DLC coating on here. We have really good LMAX steel. We have the axis lock, and it just works, man. It's a little bit bigger. It's still thin, hyper lightweight, deep carry pocket clip, all the cool things I loved about the original bug out. but in a different form factor. The one knife that gave me kind of the jollies before I had this one was the Bailout in 3V. This was the one that I carried for years until recently when I got the tagged out. This thing is just, oh, it's ferocious. But if I want to go smaller, I typically don't. As you saw a theme, I like bigger knives. I have the mini bug out in freaking that blaze orange. Oh, it's sexy. But with that, like I said, if you don't like the bigger knives, they have everything in every flavor. But this was basically the bug out I wish we always had, and I'm very, very glad they actually freaking made this thing. I picked this up at one of my buddy's shops. His name is Carlos. He's the owner of a knife shop here in San Antonio, Texas called Trapper John's. Next on the list is from an overseas manufacturer called Civivi, a very small brand from Wee Knives that you may or may not have ever heard of. No, I'm just kidding, dude. Civivi and Wee Knives are freaking the goats, man. They've been working a lot of cool people. Anyway, you guys know I like big knives. This is the Buster, sporting the Super Lock. It kind of reminds me basically of the Shark Lock in all facets, but it's got the anodized freaking aluminum. We have the textured G10 deep carry pocket clip, the Super Lock, and this thing is, oh, it's a flippy boy, but it's got rock solid action. This thing does not freaking move. It is sporting Nitro V, which is kind of a budget steel, but it's really, really good. This thing is like super slicey. Next up is a huge newcomer to my channel, which is Microtech, but they're definitely not a newcomer to the knife world by a long shot. They're one of the most respected brands in the industry. This is the MSI, sporting M390 steel. It's got the ram lock on it, another crossbar lock, but this one, look at that. It uses a coil spring. Exactly what I've been wanting from a bunch of other brands, and this thing just feels super rock solid. Outside of the Zero Tolerance 0203, these are kind of like my big, huge contenders for like outdoor survival adventures that I've got so far in my collection that I carry, but I catch myself carrying this one a lot with a deep carry pocket clip. I actually used to own the aluminum version, but then I found out they had kind of the FRN, the basically the plastic handles. It makes it, it's kind of like a giant bug out, but for Microtech with just, that's just better. Next up, yep, another crossbar lock. This one comes from Kubey Knives. It's another overseas manufacturer, just like Civivi and Wee Knives. This is also in the budget category by a mile. This is sporting 14C28 in stainless steel, G10 handles, deep carry pocket clip. The reason why you're seeing a recurring theme is because I don't like having my fingers in the path of the blade when I'm opening and closing and deploying the knife. That's why things like autos, OTFs, crossbar locks, the triad lock, the shark lock, all those locks kind of speak to me. Liner locks and frame locks are cool, but I find that even with the Omega springs that are a little bit weaker, these crossbar locks tend to be a little bit more robust, have a little more strength and durability, and with the fact that I take knives out into the field and use them outside of just resting in my pocket. Next up is a super chunky boy. This comes from a company called Extrema Ratio. They're out of Italy. It is sporting a M390 steel drop point blade, or almost close to a spear point, but drop point it is. It does sport a liner lock. However, they recognize the fault in the liner not being super robust, given the fact that Extrema Ratio tends to be very hardcore, very tactical, very tough, very robust hardcore knives. They put a secondary lock on it. Even if you disengage this bad boy, it's not going anywhere. Now, it does feel a little bit blocky, but all these weird cutouts that I always felt were going to be like weird and it was going to give me hot spots and everything, it doesn't. Like, it actually feels really good. Like, I can sit there and white knuckle my hand and it doesn't hurt at all. It's sporting a deep carry pocket clip, aluminum handle scales. It's sporting a tungsten carbide tip, so you can have it as a glass breaker if you need to. So if this is your EDC of choice. It is not very fidget friendly, given the fact that it is a liner lock with the secondary lock attached to it. In that same vein, you have to be aware of that if you're going to be picking this bad boy up. Last but not least is the Bulli by Kizer, sporting S45V in steel, crossbar lock again. No deep carry pocket clip, but it still has good retention, but it's easy in the pocket. Titanium handle scales. I love the two-tone bolsters to handle. It just really, really feels nice. This is a really cool compound grind. I'm kind of enjoying that. Now, if this is a little fat for your liking, there is one that almost makes it into my pocket, not nearly as much as this one, is the Pokemon. This is kind of newer though, which is why it hasn't had a lot of pocket time. It didn't make this list. But this one's freaking cool. It's sporting AEB-L stainless steel. Very commonly used in like kitchen cutlery, especially among like custom knife makers back in the day. I know a ton of steels have come out in the 5 years I've been gone, But with that said, with Kizer being an overseas company, they have done a very, very good job with their quality control. This has really good solid lockup. It's a very strong lock. It's almost integral, but it's not. It's closed off on the back spacer. You can kind of see everything up in there. So if you stuck around this long for the video, thank you. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and share this out with people. But I have 2 new knives that I want to show you that I just literally got in. This one is called the Tsunami from a company called Microtech. This is their only active knife model they have, and they have another one coming out very, very soon. But as you can see, recurring theme, crossbar lock. But this is sporting S90V full titanium frames. Now, this is not a cheap knife. This is like 300 bucks. But this is kind of along the lines of like a gentleman's carry knife. This is something that I would take on a date with my wife. I'm going out to a nice dinner. We're going to church. I want to, I'm going to be not dressed up in denim, or I'm not in my Wrangler shorts. This is one of the knives we're going to bring after I'm done with the survival adventure. And even though I love carrying my big, huge, chunky folders and my tacticals and my MSIs and my bare knuckle, I do like cleaning up a little bit and looking a little more cleaned up for my wife when we go out. This thing definitely fits the bill for the more gentleman side of the everyday carry of my life. And then next up, this is a knife by a company called GeoKnife. They're overseas manufacturing. I don't know the name of this model. I'll definitely have it linked down in the video description along with all the other knives we have sewn just for reference purposes. It's sporting a crossbar lock. It's got this titanium anodized pivot, which is really, really, really cool. And it's sporting M390 steel, which is a very, very, very high quality steel. It's kind of short for my liking. I tend to not like really tiny knives, but I say that, and, the DRAX 2 is very similarly sized, but I think it's because it's got a thinner profile. And then there's the mini bug out that I have, and also the yonder. So with that, I don't hate smaller knives by any stretch of the imagination, but I tend to prefer knives in the size category of something like the Tsunami. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, make sure you like, share, and subscribe so we can keep growing, thriving, and making awesome videos for you guys. But that just about does it for now. Hope you guys have an absolutely wonderful day. I'm out.